morning. How you guys doing? Hopefully you can hear me.
Are we good?
Good.
Testing.
Welcome to Dive to the Heart.
All right.
So,
Yes, we're happy you're here.
today we're going to be doing a discussion on mental health in Kingdom Hearts. It'll be a little bit more laid back than our other panels, but we're super excited to sit down and talk to you guys. I'm Byroxis.
I'm Kay, KRP.
So, yeah.
Oh, hello.
So just a little background. I am a clinical therapist. I've been practicing for a good while. I used to intern as like a behavioral therapist, and I have continued to do that. I'm fully licensed as of 2 years ago, and so I've been kind of using my clinical background to make content. You might have seen the psychology of Sora, that's other psychology of characters. So yeah, that's me.
And I'm Kay. I have streamed on Twitch for about 3 years. Kingdom Hearts was like the first video game I played and what's got me into a lot of RPGs. I am a licensed therapist, and I have been for about 7 years now, and I specifically work with children and adolescents, and I do a lot of work around trauma and trauma treatment. And so I love being able to take the things that brought me joy as a kid and talk about it through a mental health lens. And I do a lot of like video game play therapy with my kids in the work that I do, because I think, I think gaming can be really healing and therapeutic for a lot of people in general, not just kids. So I love being able to make those connections, and I talk a lot about the connection between mental health and gaming on my streams.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering what the survey's about, right? Anybody have questions about that? Yeah, a little bit? Just one or two?
Yeah.
Great. So, part of this panel is just going to be talking about these brief, kind of like character profiles of all the different characters. And so when we finished doing that, we decided we should have people like sit together, right? That maybe answered prompts and be able to kind of share and resonate, like, oh, this was the part that I connected with, and having a discussion about that. So if you're not comfortable like talking to new people, it's a great way to break the ice, right? But seriously, if that is something that's like very anxiety provoking for you, there are seats in the back that you can sit at if you're not comfortable. So we're going to go through the character statements, and we're going to connect them to the characters that we did. So
These surveys that you answered, they were all connected to a different character within the series. So we tried to keep them as vague as possible so that you didn't necessarily know what character you were associating with. And so we're going to go through really quickly and read the character statements and tell you what group it is. All right. So for character statement A, I am loyal almost to a fault. I like honesty and directness. I ask a lot of questions. I have a strong desire to find my purpose in life. And sometimes I can feel lost in life if I'm not connected to others.
statement A.
So that's statement A.
Yep. So that was Roxas.
Roxas.
Oh, also probably part of the disclaimer. The idea for this is we want to talk about like the strong points of characters, and also some of the parts that are vulnerable or kind of like tough to talk about. And so if you feel called out during this, we're licensed therapists. We can't give you counseling, but we can connect you with a counselor. So, so expect call-outs maybe.
And as we kind of have on the screen, like this is not official mental health therapy or diagnoses. This is meant for education, fun, an open discussion. And there might be sensitive topics, so if you feel like you need to take space, please feel free to take a space out of the room, walk away, do what you need to do, get water, take care of yourself.
Great. What's the next statement?
So, statement B. All right, I have a strong desire to connect to others and the world around me. I am very in tune with my thoughts and emotions. Sometimes I struggle to share what I'm feeling. When times are difficult, I tend to daydream about better days.
That is nominee.
All right. Where's our statement C people at? All right, C. I am very personable and get along with others. I love to laugh and have a good time. Humor is important to me, but I sometimes use it as a coping mechanism too much. It can be hard for me to see someone else's point of view.
That is Axel.
Axel. All right. Statement D. I tend to do the right thing even if the decision is difficult. I can adapt well to most things, and people often misunderstand me, and I feel I need to prove myself.
Xian.
Right. Statement E. I am very motivated and like to achieve my goals. Some may call me a perfectionist. I care deeply for those who are important to me. Sometimes I can get caught up on the smaller details in life rather than see the big picture.
Aqua.
Statement F. I have a strong sense of right and wrong and am passionate about helping others. I am hardworking and driven and like to take care of things on my own. Sometimes I can get stuck in my ways of thinking.
Tara.
Tara. All right, statement G. I am someone who is optimistic and encouraging. I really love to see the good in others. I am strong-willed and driven. Sometimes I struggle to acknowledge my flaws. I often prefer to push down negative memories.
Ventus.
Yes. Statement H. I am compassionate and empathetic. I like to encourage others. I can be impulsive sometimes and react strongly. I sometimes feel like I need to be stronger for others.
Sora.
Yeah. Statement I. I can look inside and reflect on my own mistakes and growth. I have a strong desire for new experiences and adventures. I think it's important to challenge those that you care about. I can sometimes put up a wall between myself and others, and when I am struggling, I tend to find myself spending more time alone.
Riku.
Riku.
Of course.
It all starts to make sense. You're like, yes. And finally, statement J. I am strong-willed and ready to fight for what matters to me. I like to see the good in situations around me. Sometimes I feel like people don't see my full potential. Change can make me uncomfortable, and I work hard to stay connected with those who are important to me.
Kyrie.
So try to remember who your character is. We will be doing some discussion questions surrounding your characters after a brief.
So yeah, the main reason we wanted to do this, and the main reason we wanted to stay vague, is a lot of times we'll see like the main characters, right, and we connect with. There's so many different aspects of Sora or Riku that we tend to miss some of the smaller characters, and so we really wanted to give a good snapshot of each character in the trios to help people connect and resonate with them differently. And so if you feel like, oh man, I really resonate with Sora, I'm so upset I wasn't in that group, I really encourage you to use this discussion panel to like really think about the statements, the characteristics, in those characters that you're in, and use that when we're in the discussion. The discussion will have a bunch of different questions. Some of them are fun, some of them are a little bit more serious. And the idea is, after we go through the characters, we're gonna have you guys kind of discussing how would this character react to this situation, or like what about this makes sense in the lens of this character. So, but yeah. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that you want to add.
I think both of us are just really passionate, not only about Kingdom Hearts, but the work that we do. And I think, mental health is all around us. It is part of our everyday lives. And I think for both of us, we really love to look at things through that lens. And so this is a really cool opportunity for us to kind of provide some of that like lens to everyone else who may want to kind of look through character analysis or themes of pieces of media they like through the lens of like mental health and relatability, right? Like we're all here because there's something in this game that's really resonated with us, and this can help give us a deeper look at our own, at ourselves, and why why does this game and this piece of media really resonate with us for different reasons. And maybe you'll find something new out about yourself and why you love this series here in this panel.
Yeah.
That's what we're really going for.
That's definitely my hope, is like, whenever I come at like a character and I talk about them, I try to pull as many different aspects and details out, because the more that we can learn about ourselves, the more that we can like be ourselves and be comfortable in ourselves. And so I think that's super important.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So we are going to do a little bit of a word cloud. We would love for people to scan this QR code. Yes, another one. But what are some of the themes that are present in Kingdom Hearts? So we want you to like fill out this word cloud, put in a word, a theme that you think is present in this game, and then we're going to show the word cloud and like what are some of the themes that people find and have resonated with in this series. And so
while they do that, I'm so interested. I know this isn't an interview, but I'm so fascinated. You said you use like play therapy and like games.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
How did I come up with play therapy? Well, so I did a bunch of play therapy classes in my master's program, but it actually kind of stemmed from like one client that I worked with who was really struggling to engage, but really bought into like every once in a while I would say you could bring your Switch in for the last like 10 minutes of our session. But it was a way for them to like share a piece of themselves with me. And then through that feeling safe of like I can be myself here, and this is like the one person who actually cares about the games I'm playing, cares to like listen to me, like really felt like my family doesn't care about what I'm doing and playing. I don't have many friends that have these interests, but you are this person who is like asking me questions about like what games are you playing? What do you like about them? Like, and so I have built it now into our sessions to do a little bit of switch time, and it's a chance for them to like really feel start to build self-esteem and feel confident that like, I am not, even just because I'm the only person in my friend group who like this doesn't make me weird or an outcast, right? Like I can feel confident about this, and people are interested in what I have to say and like what I'm interested in.
Yeah,
So
I always thought it was
out of that for me of like just letting the kids I work with feel safe to be themselves, because I think, I know from my own personal experience and maybe the experiences of talking to others like that I've met at Reconnect, like I think a lot of us have this shared experience of maybe feeling like we didn't belong or like it's just hard to fit in, and so like the earlier we can instill and I can instill in like a young person, you do belong and what you're interested in matters, like the best, like they can carry that with them and they don't have to learn that as an adult.
For sure. I think with gaming, like it's a space, and I almost look at it as like helping with anxiety or like fear of failure, where you have this space in a game where you can just do something, and if you mess up, right,
you can fix it.
You can fix it. You can try again, and I think that's like so important to teach and learn, especially in like this day and age where everything feels like it's under a microscope almost, and people feel like they have to be perfect, and so it creates this like anxiety of I don't even want to try now because I'm so scared of.
It's like an exposure therapy. Of
exposure therapy.
It's hard to try new things in real life, so let's try a new thing in a game.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's try a challenge in a game. And it's really interesting because I make this connection a lot with kids too, that like, they're like, well, I hate failure, and then I immediately ask them about like a video game, and I'm like, well, okay, tell me about how you were able to keep trying against that boss. And they don't even realize, I'm like, oh, I guess I did do that. I guess I did overcome a challenge. And I can kind of help them connect that. And like, if you can do it in a game, you can also do it.
Yeah. And you got to put them in with your Zora, and they like go for like 2 weeks, and then you overcome that, and it's awesome. So, incredible.
So it's really cool to help them see how they can how they're actually learning skills. And I do a lot of education with parents too.
Okay.
Because we get a lot of parents who are like, I don't want my kids on screens. I don't want them playing games. And I'm like, okay, well, hear me out. What if we talked about moderation and using it to like skill build? And the moment I can kind of teach parents that, oh, actually, you can use this as a tool to help them build skills and like learn, I am able to also educate caregivers and parents to help reframe some of their like stigma that they have over screens and gaming. And that's really cool.
Cool, awesome.
Let's see what some themes came up were. Ooh. Friendship.
Okay. Yeah. Depression. I see that one.
Let's talk about depression.
Let's talk about depression. Connection. Grief. Oh,
good
that's
one.
really interesting. Okay.
Identity.
Oh, yeah,
Loneliness.
for sure. Oh, some of these are smaller than.
Ooh, I like past doesn't mean future.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Trauma.
I'm taking a picture of this.
Yeah.
And maybe like if we want to screenshot this too and post it somewhere, I think this would be great for people to be
Courage.
able to like zoom into and look at because there's a lot.
Light. Whoop. Pain. Loyalty.
Queer themes, self-acceptance, acceptance.
Okay. Self-discovery. I see that one.
Yeah.
My eyes are so bad.
I know.
Mistake.
Like,
But. Okay. What I really like about this is there are positives and negatives, not negatives, hardships, right? And I think that's something that is so important. When we talk about just like ourselves, right? There are kind of just like this whole panel will be about, right? There will be strengths and there'll be some hardships to overcome, and so like I love seeing that there's hope and there's love, but there's grief, there's depression, right? There's these pieces that are both like great that we love to accept, and those things that are kind of hard to accept, and they both come together really well.
and that's also it's such a accurate representation of life, right? Like this is all we have probably all experienced many of these things, if not all of them.
Sure. So, on to the next. So, I'm going to do this very briefly. I love talking about cognitive theory. This will not, I swear, I needed some keys to jangle while I had this. Oh well. So, cognitive triangles are this idea that thoughts, feelings, and behavior or reactions all kind of play together. And so that's why we use the Trinity mark, is because they all are connected, right?
Yes.
Typically, our thoughts are going to be the thing that comes first. Our thoughts kind of make us feel some kind of way, right? And that feeling usually triggers a response, right? That's not always the case. Sometimes we'll react a little bit faster than what we're thinking and feeling. My favorite example is if you touch a hot stove, right? You're not going to think, wow, that's really hot. Man, I feel a lot of pain. I should move my hand, right? You're going to be like, oh, I need to move my hand, right? And then we're thinking and feeling, wow, that's really hot. That hurts. But typically, right, when we have, say like someone walks past you and you're like, hey, what's up? And then they keep walking and they don't say anything, right? What's that initial thought? For some of us, that's going to be, they hate me, right? And that feeling is going to be anxiety or fear, right? Because fear
Or sadness,
or
right?
sadness, yeah. And then there's going to be some reaction to that, right? If you're more outgoing, it's going to be, hey, let me fix this, or let me see what's wrong. If we're introverted, we're going to go sit down and feel upset and be.
I think about in Dream Drop Distance, actually, with that very first Traverse Town visit, where Sora is like, everyone's my friend, people are good. And so that's kind of his like underlying thought. And so he immediately is like friendly, happy-go-lucky, and like makes friends with Neku, who is like, why are you talking to me? But then on the flip side, you see Riku, who is like, you need to guard yourself because of what he's been through in his life experience. So he's a little bit more reserved, a little bit more guarded, maybe feeling a little bit more on edge. And then as his reaction, he's a little bit more closed off to those he meets in Traverse Town. So you have these two different characters in the same situation, but based on their former life experiences and what they've lived through and kind of their own thought processes and personalities, they're responding and feeling completely different in those situations.
Yeah, and core beliefs are like, if you've talked to me for more than like 20 minutes, you will hear that word, because I love talking about core beliefs.
Same.
Because the way that our core beliefs are, right? Core beliefs are everything that we have learned about either the world or those around us or ourselves, right? And it's almost like an automatic thought before our regular thoughts. So if we have a core belief of people are good, right? Then if someone walks past us and they don't say anything, our initial thought is not going to be they hate me, right? It's going to be, oh, they're probably busy, or like they're doing something else, they're distracted. Whereas if we have core beliefs that like maybe we are, this is like going to be too intense, but generally most core beliefs go down to like, are we lovable? Are we acceptable? Right? Are we appreciated? Stuff like that. Or are we safe, or are we not safe? And so if we have core beliefs that are more leading towards like I'm unlovable or unacceptable, right, then our initial thought's going to be like, oh, did I do something wrong, right? We're going to kind of personalize that. But yeah, I think
ABCs.
I was going to go through the ABCs. I didn't know if I talked like too much, but ABCs are another thing. But if you want to talk to me later afterwards, I can yap about that for a while.
It's very similar. It's like you have the event, you have the belief, you kind of have your response, but then the follow-up to that is like you take time to kind of prove, like try to either prove the thought or the belief or disprove the belief, right?
Yeah, okay.
You kind of like go through it and you kind of have to take all the evidence around you of like, okay, what are reasons I could support this?
For sure.
That support this belief I have, and then what are some of the things that disprove it, and then based on that, you can kind of create a more realistic belief. Maybe they were busy, maybe they were just walking past me really quickly, right? Like, so that's kind of what that is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to be brief, and we're gonna get like kind of walk through what made us decide on the character quotes, and just talking a little bit about each character and their strengths and struggles. So for Sora, someone could probably make a whole video on the psychology of him, just he has so many different interactions. But his strengths really are like compassion, right? Empathy, encouraging. He connects with people so easily. And on top of that, right, he understands people, and he's almost like a cheerleader for people, right? He wants to see the good in them. He wants to encourage them. On the flip side of that, right, some of those struggles are like, there's that impulsivity, right, where I want to see the good in everything. I want to like have good outcomes. And so he's a little impulsive, right? There's that naivety that's tied into that, where he's, you know, an island boy. He hasn't had a whole lot of experience with the outside world, and he's kind of thrust in these situations where he can be manipulated or kind of led astray. Emotionally reactive, self-esteem, especially with Kingdom Hearts 3, right? That whole mantra that he says throughout the series, my friends and my power, is great, right? Until we are so dependent on other people, right? If we're so focused on our friends, it can kind of hollow out our own like self-efficacy. And so when we lose that, it can be a pretty hard blow.
You feel left with nothing, which is, you know, as we know, not true.
Yeah, exactly.
So for Riku, and I think the thing we loved doing about this is like making sure to pull strengths and struggles from each character, because I think it can be really easy, especially on first playthroughs or first kind of time through the series, to really either latch on to this character is like all positive and all like the positive attributes of a person, and this person is kind of all negative, right? And like that shows all the terrible things of a person, but I think each character actually has a little bit of both. And so for Riku, I think one of his biggest strengths is his ability to self-reflect, especially as the series progresses. He really desires growth and change, and we really see that later in the series. He has the ability to challenge others, and he's very adventurous. Like, as we know, he's the one who wanted to venture off the island in that first game. But yeah, some of his struggles as a result of what he's been through, has a proclivity to isolation, like feeling ashamed and guilty for what he has done and experienced, and so feeling like he doesn't deserve good things, and so he'll isolate. Very impulsive, kind of making those decisions, especially early on in the series, and then just being really stubborn. Of like, I think about in Kingdom Hearts 2 when he's like, I got to go on my own, and you know, it takes Kairi to like really pull him back.
And even that time where he's just like, I'll be in the darkness forever.
Yeah, I'll just be in the darkness forever, right? Like hopeless. And so I think those are some of like his defining characteristics and traits. And then Kairi, very kind. I think she's incredibly strong-willed. She would not be a princess of heart and a core to the series if she was not strong-willed and powerful in some sort of way. And very selfless, like really wanting to sacrifice and do everything for her friends, and very optimistic, like especially again towards Riku and towards Sora when he starts to get down on himself. I think this is a character who can really like get overshadowed, and people tend to not see a lot of her characteristics because of like her presence in the series. But I think when you really look at her core presence, there is a lot about her that we can learn and know about her character. I think kind of as a result, though, of being not given so much of a chance or having some of the experiences she's experienced, there's real lack of confidence and a need to build that up. And again, kind of no chance to show her potential, which hopefully we will see in the future. But then also a difficulty with change, like seeing kind of at the end, throughout the series later in the games, that it's really hard to see how her friends have changed, how losing some of her home and some of the consistency in life is really challenging, and having to adapt and learn is a lot more challenging for her than it is a character like Riku.
And I've been doing a deep dive on Kairi for the last couple weeks,
Yes.
Or months, I guess, at this point. So it's such an interesting character. For Roxas, I think a lot of times we like to look at kind of the end of Days in Cage 2, or the end of Days in the beginning of Cage 2, where he's so emotional, right? And we look at that and we're like, oh, he's angry. And that's kind of where we leave it, right? But if you look at Days and all the interactions, there's such a strong sense of loyalty. There's honesty, right? He wants people to be direct with him, right? He needs these answers, and he doesn't like being run around, right? There's a curiosity, right, with just exploring all these worlds, and I think back to the vacation day in Days, where he's just kind of going around this town. He's so curious about what is friendship, why are these people hanging out, and yeah, so there's a whole lot more to Roxas for sure, and some of the struggles, that emotional reactiveness, right, where he's so literally he's so young, right? He hasn't had a chance to build up coping, and so when he does experience that loss, right, he kind of loses it because he's having this grief and trauma that's almost unfair to somebody that isn't even equipped for that, and it just consistently happens throughout Days. And so there can be also struggles with identity. Nobody joke, but actually, right? There's that struggle for who am I outside of Sora, right? And it's so interesting to see in Cage 2. It's almost not an impulsive thing, but he rejoins with Sora. But then it's not until Dream Drop Distance where he's I understand, right? I understand why it had to be you. And so even though he made that decision at the start of Cage 2, it's still a journey for him to find his own identity. And then that's why I think 3 has such a beautiful kind of tie off or an ending for Roxas, is because he does finally get his own identity after accepting his own fate. So yeah. Naminé is, I've come to love Naminé so much. One character I would love to see more of, hopefully in Cage 4. But yeah, when you look at how she is able to put her pen to paper, and not even just drawing, but the fact that she's able to draw concepts, right? This concept of friendship and connection with Sora and Riku and Kairi, and wanting to have that, I think takes a lot of expression of who am I and what do I need, right? Because she writes herself into their life because she wants that connection, and she can see that in herself. And so I think that shows a very strong sense of self for her. Obviously very kind. The fact that she's willing to sacrifice that connection that she finally got shows a lot to her. And I kind of already talked about the desire for connection. The struggle, on the other hand, right, that self-esteem, all the trauma that happened in Castle Oblivion. And I put the struggle for sacrifice here as well, because I think it connects with that self-esteem, because on one hand, it does take a lot of strength to willingly give up everything for someone else. But I think it also ties into this self-esteem of she does not feel worth it, right? And so, yeah, Naminé is such a strong, deep character that I wish has more time.
Right, Axel. I think, as we all know, Axel kind of acts as the comic relief at times. He's very personable, humorous, honest, very honest and direct. I mean, I always think about I'll always be there to bring you back. Gets me every time. So I think he just loves to lighten the mood, but as a result, the struggle, the flip side of that is really minimizing circumstances. So when there is a really tough moment, he wants to lighten the mood, but that can really be invalidating sometimes. And then as a struggle to kind of like empathize and really think about like other people's perspective and why someone else might be hurting. So I think Axel is one of those characters that shows how a strength can at times in the wrong circumstance be a struggle. And I think that we know that for ourselves at times too.
Is that mine?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah, Shion's another character. I haven't spent a whole lot of time diving into her, but I think just on the surface you can see just such a strong moral compass, right? When she discovers in Castle Oblivion, like her true like self or her true identity, kind of that the organization created her for. Her first sense is like, I need to fix this, right? I need to make this right. She doesn't even know Sora. Like literally only having memories to work off of, and yeah, the adaptability of kind of being able to like wrestle with all these like really like life-altering, life-changing realizations, and then that resiliency to like follow through in that resolve is incredible. Yeah, again with struggles, identity. I think for Shion more so, right? It's this like literally like kind of being a mirror for other people, right? And mirroring back like what their memories are. A lot of uncertainty. It can be hard to break through that idea of like what people have of her. And confidence, right? Like there's just such a like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like a struggle for stability almost in like who she is.
Aqua, personally one of my favorite characters in the entire series. As we see, she's very highly motivated. She has immense mental and emotional strength with what she has to go through to become a Keyblade Master, but then also what she kind of goes through after kind of in Fragmentary Passage. Very focused high achiever and cares for others. I mean, I had the benefit kind of watching my partner play through Birth by Sleep right before while we were kind of crafting this panel, so I got a really good reminder and a look into the Birth by Sleep characters, and so I was able to kind of get these reminders and pictures of Aqua, and that like, yeah, she is kind of this high achiever and she wants to be perceived as like, yeah, I deserve this mastery and I do what I'm supposed to, and like, so as a result, she can kind of be a perfectionist, right? Like she wants to be perceived as successful, and like she absolutely deserves her place in, as a Keyblade Master. And then I think obviously, as we know in Fragmentary Passage and beyond, struggling with hopelessness for very real reasons. And I think too, as a result of being so focused on the end goal, she can kind of miss the small moments along the way. Like I think about, she's just trying so hard to do what Ericus told her to do that she misses those small moments of like Disney Town, and got really focused in Deep Space of like trying to find Experiment 626, missing out on like the Wayfinder, and like there's just, it takes her a little bit to catch those small moments. And then yeah, following orders kind of despite the consequences and seeing the aftermath of that. And then another character, Terra. I think Terra is a character who really gets boxed into like let's talk about all of Terra's bad attributes, and Terra's the character you shouldn't aspire to be. But I think Terra actually shows a lot of strength and drive and a desire to prove others wrong. He really has a strong desire to help others, even though it goes awry in Birth by Sleep. His motivation is to be helpful. And I think that's what really matters. I think a lot of people get stuck on like the result and not the motive.
Yeah.
And he has a really strong sense of right and wrong, of like, this is good and this is bad, and feeling immense guilt about when he realizes the consequences that his actions have.
And I think like it shows what happens when you have a strong sense of right and wrong, but then you don't have that experience with the world, right? And it's like, I want to do the right thing, and I'm so like focused on doing that I can be easily led astray, right? Or easily manipulated.
And so, as kind of that all or nothing thinking, it's either good or bad, right or wrong, this or that. And then I think kind of it leads to a distorted view of relationships, right? Like when somebody does wrong, or makes a mistake, it can just become like, I'm going to completely write that person off, or everybody is bad. As we talked about those core beliefs, it starts to develop that belief system of like, well, everybody's bad and going to mislead me and I can't trust anybody. And then as a result, it also leads to that isolation, that like similar to Riku, and that hyper independence of like, well, I'm just going to go on my own then and do everything by myself. I don't need anybody, because clearly doing for others just puts me in a bad situation. So it's kind of like, why would I want to work with others?
For sure. I think this is our last
And then our
one.
final character.
On Ventus, right? So optimistic, so encouraging. You see a lot of like similarities, right, to Sora, and just like how he wants to see the good in others, right? And how he's able to kind of even pick out that at sometimes when we can't even see it ourselves, or if we can't even like have a hard time looking past other people's struggles. Like I feel like Ventus is one of those people that just sees the good and pushes towards that. Very strong-willed, very driven, right? I think back to, in Radiant Garden when he is like pushing back on Aqua, right? He's like, he has this strong sense of like, I believe in Terra, right? I want to encourage him. And even though like, Aqua's worried about him, Ventus still sees that good and still wants to like help out. On the flip side of that, right? Sometimes we can be so focused on seeing the good in somebody that we don't see some of those darker parts of some of the things that could hurt us. Obviously the trauma with the repressed memories and the naivety. So, yeah.
So we are going to head into discussion questions.
Yes.
So we're not going to do all these at once.
Yes.
We're going to start with a couple. So we'll start with the first two, and we're going to have people, we're going to take some moment for you to discuss in your groups, and then we're going to go around and maybe do like one group for different questions to hear what you discussed and something that stood out. And so we're going to start with, we're going to take about 5-10 minutes to discuss, are you surprised with the character you got? Why or why not? And how are you similar or different from the character?
And so the idea for this, right, and this is like that discussion portion where we really want you guys to connect with each other. So if you guys want to like scoot in on your aisles and just make sure that you all can talk to each other, we're going to come around in a couple minutes. If you guys, we wanted to start off with this question because I think this is a good icebreaker, right? Like, are you surprised that you got this character? What about this like resonated with you? Or like, if you weren't expecting that, right? How do you think that like going through this panel has helped you kind of understand why you connected that character?
So we'll take a few moments, and then I will walk around with a microphone and stop at a group to get your answer, and we'll see how much time we have and kind of go through the questions.
Yeah, for sure. So
All right.
get to discussing. I would love to go to each group and hear your thoughts, but we'll like jump to each one for each question and do like one or two.
Like, what did you guys discuss? What were you surprised with the character you got? You can share either your answer or something someone in your group shared that resonated. And then how was someone maybe similar or different? I'll go through a couple groups.
So we are Group C, and we had Lee/Axel.
Let's go.
Now, believe it or not, as someone who kind of teaches the same thing, teaching the themes of Kingdom Hearts to our 500 plus people, it actually makes way too much sense why we would be someone like Axel. Axel is someone who's trying to keep everything stable. However, sometimes when he's too focused on it, he tends to not focus on those bigger picture. And I will say, as someone like that, it's really difficult to really not lower your personal guard down because you don't want to make anyone depressed, anyone hurt. And with someone like Axel, we all can see it. The man lost his home, lost his friend, his other friend's turning like into a complete monster. His other friend is now puppets. The last thing he wants is something else to happen. So he's just trying to be nonchalant, make jokes, but in actuality, you know the man is suffering.
Yeah.
Extremely bad.
For sure.
I will say one thing. This is more of a little fun fact. Do you guys know why his element's fire?
No?
No one? Fire represents desire to go, that drive, that passion. And since Axel's main thing is wanting to keep his friends in the forefront, get things done, make sure he can be there, that's what powers his fire. Because one thing I noticed, the elements of the Kingdom Hearts, like organization, are tied to their individual personalities. Like, I'll give you an example. Zaldin's wind is like dismissive, barrier around people. So with Axel, because he's always wanting to do his best and keep that fire forward, it helps on the opposite side because he's too focused on going forward and not focused on the background, a lot of suffering has happened. So I would definitely say, for me, I'm more like that as well.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. Does another group want to?
Thank you for sharing that perspective,
that's
too.
incredible.
I appreciate that. All right, we'll do one more for this question, and then we'll do the next set of questions, and we'll go to some different groups.
Am I supposed to stand up? I can stand. I'm just tall is the only thing. We had Roxas, which
Good
I
character.
definitely related to a lot. Big people pleaser energy. And I definitely, to a fault, will establish more of the value I have to what I can bring to a group of people. And I can see a lot of that in Roxas, especially how his emotions drive him in a way where, as emotions rise, he can tend to be a little impulsive. But all of that comes from, like, the biggest form of anger you really see in him is like the end of days, where he lost his friend and he was upset for her about all of that. And I definitely have that a lot, where I will shrug off a lot of things that people bother me about, but whenever it's regarding someone I care about, then I tend to have a very more physical anger feeling.
That whole like cage 3, like hands off my friends, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so no surprises there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Actually, before
One more,
we
or-
before we do the next question, I would actually love to see a show of hands. Raise your hand if you are not even at all surprised with who you got. You were like, yeah, that tracks. Raise your hand.
Awesome.
I'm just curious. Okay. Yeah. And raise your hand if you were shocked. You were like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Okay.
Because I would actually love to
Wow.
hear from someone who was surprised, if you feel comfortable to share. I saw in the back. I'm going to try to jump around. Because I would love to hear that.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I got I, which was Riku, and I was very surprised by that because I was a big fan of Sora, and I thought I would have a bad personality like Sora and all this one here. But now that I'm really thinking about it, Riku is a definite personification of what I am, because struggling to feel like you've done a lot of things wrong in the past, and trying your best to make things right with everybody, and being just a better person is definitely a definition of what Riku is supposed to be. You know, he's the big brother now, and he understands the struggle. So every time he sees his friends being a person who's not who they're supposed to be, he would go up to them and he'd just say, hey, that's not you, buddy. You need to stop saying what you're saying, because you need to get back up, because people are counting on you. I'm counting on you, that first thing. And after hearing that, I'm like, wait, that's true. It's very true. I mean, I love that. And now that I'm saying it right now, I'm super glad I got Riku, because honestly, I think everyone here agree that we all need a Riku in our lives, I think, at this point. So thank you.
That's so great.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think there's probably a little bit of all the characters that people see themselves in, but I really love.
For sure.
Thank you for sharing that. All right.
Great.
Next question.
Yeah, so we might want to tie these two together.
Yeah.
So what would you want to learn from this character? But then on the flip side, what do you think they could learn from you? And so when we're discussing these questions, right, like look at it through the lens of what do we know about this character? What are their attributes? What are their characteristics? And use that to kind of launch your discussion. So go ahead and
But on the flip side too, what could the character learn from you? I think that's equally important. So
Great.
we'll take about 5-ish minutes, and then we'll pop around.
Okay, so we'll just do the same thing that we did last time. If you want to raise your hands to share what your group was talking about, or if you want to share your own thoughts, we'll go around. Ideally,
Yep. Let's hear from what's a character we haven't heard from. If you would like to share.
nominee?
Yeah,
Oh, I'd love to hear.
nominate. Would you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the nominee group want to share one?
Hello, we are the nominees, and for the questions, for the questions we are talking about, we actually came up with what do you want to learn from this character?
Okay.
We would actually like to learn how does she deal with being alone for so long, and how she was able to kind of channel her work, what she was doing, like drawing and stuff, and still maintain her self of identity. And then let's see here for our next one. What do you think we could learn, or what? Yes. We kind of came up with being able to learn that you don't need to be accepted by everyone, but to also know that when the people you are accepted by care for you deeply. And yeah, that's pretty much what we came up with.
Okay, awesome. We can maybe do one more.
Yeah, I saw a hand over here.
Great. It's row. Sorry.
So either I'm in the wrong row or I'm the only one on Team Ven, apparently. So I'm looking at this from the perspective of end of BBS going into Cage 3, because I think Cage 3 was a really nice book ending for him. So in that lens, something that I think they could learn from us, and it's not something that they could learn, it's something that they end up learning, is that this naive optimism is not always healthy. And it's actually, you can see that he actually did fully learn it, because in Cage 3, when spoilers, but when Vanitas is basically fleeting, he kind of convinces Sora, like, he understands there is no point reasoning with this anymore. This is not someone who deserves the blind optimism and friendship that he's exhibited all throughout BBS, and it hurt him then, and he's learned from it now. And I think in the inverse, I think Ven represents like a big motivation that we should behave like that. We should be people that are trying to see the good in people all the time, but maybe in a way that's healthy and is prepared for situations where our optimism could be abused against us. So I think that's what by we I mean me, concluded.
Thank you for sharing.
Great.
And I wish we had like a full 2-hour chunk to like hear from everybody, but we hope everyone's having good discussion regardless.
Definitely.
So we're gonna hop into like another set of 2 questions, just for the sake of time, because we do want to try to leave some room for Q&A at the end. So we'll hop into the next set of 2.
Which are, what lessons has this character learned over time, and what growth could they still benefit from? So it's a little bit similar to the last 2, but more so like, what do you think that their core beliefs are, right? What have they learned about the world, the people around them, and how do you think that kind of core belief benefits them or doesn't benefit them? So
We'll pop back over in about 5 minutes. All right, we're gonna hop around to a group.
And also for Twitch chat.
Yes, we want to read one of the Twitch chats.
Yeah, while we're going to talk to somebody, if you guys want to answer that question in Twitch chat, and I'll read through one of them after.
All right, so I'm gonna pop over here.
Hello, yeah, we are the Kyrie group.
Kyrie! Woo!
And so let's see, we're on. Sorry, I lost track of what have they learned over time? I think Kyrie has learned to accept loss, like, because so much stuff goes wrong. She goes through so much, but she kind of keeps a level head about it, and she's able to like take the next step and move forward from it. So I think that makes her like a solid place to come back to for a lot of characters. And then growth they could benefit from, I think just like following through on the promises that she's made to be like, I'm going to become stronger, I'm going to be part of the group now. Like, she hasn't been able to do that yet, so I think that'll be her next step, is to just like commit to it. You've kind of made your plans with like writing and thinking through like with your words, so now you can take the next step to act on that.
I agree, and hopefully we do get to see more of that. For anyone who doesn't know, I was on the Women of Kingdom Hearts panel at the last Reconnect, and I was very passionate about Kyrie getting her moment. All right, and then Bio is going to actually read the Twitch chat, who we also assigned to talk about Kyrie.
Kyrie, yeah. Mistress Nix VA on Twitch was saying, I've seen how Kyrie's matured, though, where she was very reckless before. She learned by the end of Melody of Memory to take better care of herself, as to not worry her friends and to protect herself. She refuses to be a tool to others' plans, and I'm proud of her for that. It takes a lot to be okay with missing out so that you can be around more in the long run. It was massive character growth for her. Which I agree, yeah, that's great. So, okay, so for the last...
Yes. So for this last question, we're gonna kind of skip through to make time, but we're actually gonna come around to every group to hear the answer because we're really curious.
And multiple people in the groups can answer.
Yes.
I don't know if we need discussion. I guess we can take a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But how would your character respond if they dropped their sea salt ice cream off the Twilight Town clock tower? So take a couple, just a couple minutes.
We'll take
to
like a
discuss.
couple minutes for you to chat, but we'll come around and we want to hear a little bit from everybody. We're gonna pop around. I'm just gonna like horseshoe around, starting over here and come in this way.
Yeah. If you want to answer, raise your hand.
Yeah, if you'd like to answer, we'll try to keep it quick. So just like try to spitfire it. I know if I dropped it off the tower, I would cry. That's just me.
I would cry.
As a group, the nominee crowd has decided that nominee would probably just not burden anybody with trying to get more and be like, it's okay, I wasn't hungry anyway.
I wasn't hungry anyways.
And feel really bad if somebody else tried to either go get her a new one or hand them their own when they're sitting right next to her.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then
I see
we'll
a hand
pop
over here.
around. We're gonna horseshoe this way. So, yeah.
We're like the only Shions in the room, I guess. Yay. I mean, I also think she would be pretty sad, but she would try to be really brave about it and be like, it's okay. But, I feel like her friends, especially Roxas, probably just give her his. It would be like, it's okay, you can have it. And she would probably be so happy and like just be like, thank you. And it would be like super sweet. I don't know.
All right. Over here, anyone here?
We were Tara. Tara would just go down and get the ice cream.
Anyone else over here?
We're the Sora group.
Sora.
We think that if he drops his, he'll be like, try to reach for it or die for it, and then he'll suck and he'll be like, it's okay. But if someone else drops their sea salt, he will like sacrifice it and give like this. So.
He would try to like reach off, and Riku would be like pulling him back. That's what would happen.
Oh, that's so
Any? Yeah.
We are Kyrie, yet again. And I feel like if Kyrie dropped her ice cream, she'd just be like, oops, and then run down and get another one. She'd just like sprint off, like, I'll be right back, guys, no worries. I'll just go grab another one. So I think that's
also,
pretty
'cause-
important for her.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
I was kind of just rambling toward the end there. You didn't interrupt.
I was just gonna jump in because Twitch chat has Kyrie also as the character, and they were having a debate whether Kyrie would curse or go on her swearing arc when she drops her ice cream. And then one other person said Kyrie wouldn't drop hers because she keeps everything she loves in a death grip.
Oh, that is sweet. Yeah. Any over here that would like to answer? Yeah.
To what you said, we had, some of us had Sora, and honestly, like, to a T what you said in terms of, like, dropping in, just basically, like, shrugging, be like, all right, whatever. And then also, like, if someone else were to drop theirs, just sacrificing their own. Just very in line with what you were saying, so.
All right, we'll loop this way. Anyone over here in the Rikus that wants? Okay. I don't know how big the groups are, so.
We've all spread out a little bit. But no, we were all pretty much unanimous with the Rikus. We turned to each other immediately and we were like, Riku would accidentally drop his and just stare at it and be like, yeah, what can you do?
All right, pop this way.
So we figured a couple things. We're going to project onto Ventus a little bit because Ventus is underrepresented here. He drops his, he's jumping off to get it. They don't take fall damage. They got big feet. But we're Aqua, by the way. Aqua would snatch him like before he even takes the other step off. Like, nope, you stay here, young man. But if Aqua drops hers, we figured she's the type to be like, oh no, I'll go clean that up, I'm sorry, and like go running down the spiral staircase and with a paper towel in hand and go clean it up. She has 2 younger brothers, including Tara.
I feel like Aqua on her way down would be like, does anyone else need another one? And go grab more for people. Yeah.
So we decided Axel's response would be, all right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to go get another one.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
We went very theoretical with Roxas because we kind of came to 2 conclusions. It depends on whether his friends are there or not.
Okay.
When his friends aren't there, the ice cream loses its significance. Because I think there is a part in days where he drops an ice cream and just nothing, no response. But when his friends are there, it's everything. Like, that is his whole thing. We talked about how there's like games that we'll play with friends that we don't play outside of that or anything like that. And Dewey made a good point about who else will I have ice cream with, is his last words to Shion. So yeah, it depends on if his friends are there or not, because the ice cream is either nothing or everything.
So philosophical. I love it.
Yeah, the ice cream is less about the ice cream and it's more about the activity with friends.
Yeah.
Was there a Tara answer?
Huh?
Did we get a Tara answer?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Okay. I was like making sure. I think we got heard about everybody.
For the last question, we're not going to have discussion on it, but if you guys want to tweet and use like the hashtag Reconnect, you can like use your character and be like, this would be a great vacation spot for my character. So if you guys want to tweet something, if you use social media, you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, so for that last question, vacation spot, if you want to post on whatever social media you have with hashtag CageReconnect, do that. And then we're going to actually open it. We're going to take some time to do that. Oh, yeah.
No worries.
No. Oh.
Oh, you wanted to answer the question.
Yeah, you don't have to do it right now. At any point today, if you would like to do that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
feel free to do that.
Yeah.
But we did want to take a moment to open up for a little bit of Q&A.
We got like 8
How
minutes.
many? Yeah, we have about
8 minutes.
10 minutes. So if there are people who would like to just ask questions, we will be mindful of time and take a few.
So, any questions?
Any
Raise your
questions?
Hand. Okay, go ahead.
Trying to keep an eye on order of hands.
Which characters are you 2?
We both said right before the panel started that I forgot to do it.
Yeah, I didn't.
So
I didn't
I'm
do
not
either.
sure. Do you know?
Probably Namine, honestly.
I'm probably Aqua.
Aqua.
Yeah.
Great.
Good question. Yeah.
Yay. Man, putting us on the spot. I was not ready for that.
Bio, you talk about core beliefs in a Kingdom Hearts character. What would you believe Larxine's core beliefs were?
Larxine?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, for anyone who
I feel
didn't
like
hear
if-
it is, what do you think Larxine's core beliefs are?
I feel like if we look at Larxine like as her somebody, like she is like attached to the hip to Marluxia, right? The reason that she's even in the organization is because she was following Marluxia. So like my initial thought is like connection is everything, right? It doesn't matter what I have to do or what I have to say. Like my connection or the connections that I have mean everything. Because I think that kind of like shows up because Larxine does some really not great things, right? Because it's in the name of like staying connected to Marluxia. But, yeah.
All right, we
Where did
have
my-
another
oh, there you
question
are. I was
over
like, where did my
here.
cameras go?
Just in your experience with like game therapy, have you specifically found this series to be helpful for people prior to this event or events previously?
Good question.
So I know for me, I don't have anyone who's really played this series that I'm working with, but I do know just a lot of friendships that I have built. This series, the common theme I have heard from people is that it has felt very therapeutic in a way to process loss. And then I feel like I have also heard just it's been a good series to almost like learn how to like trust again in some sort of way. That's what I have heard. I don't know, Bio, I don't know if you have an answer to that as well. Do you have I don't know if you have an answer. Okay. I do.
I was checking Twitch chat to see if there's any questions.
All right.
But no, I did not have an answer.
So, this question goes for everyone, including you two. Kingdom Hearts has had some of the most powerful moments in all of gaming history. What was the moment that truly made you a Kingdom Hearts fan? What was the defining moment that made you say, this is the best?
Well, you go first.
Okay. If I have to say, like, what was, like, the first moment, I tell this story all the time, but I was at my birthday party, playing Kingdom Hearts 2 instead of hanging out with my friends. And I remember, like, leveling up one of the drive forms, and I was just like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. This is peak, right? And then I spent the entire night ignoring all my friends, and I leveled up all the drive forms. So that was probably the moment. I know it's not a story moment, sorry.
Mine is the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, the cinematic where he goes, I'll come back to you, I promise. I know you will. And then the simple and clean starts, and I sobbed my eyes out as a child because, that was the moment that I was like, I'm locked in. This is making me feel like these are my friends, and I am sad for them. And I just felt an immense connection.
So since you guys are like professionals, obviously, I really want to pick your brains a bit. So like from your point of view, like who is the most interesting character for you guys to like psychoanalyze, just sort of pick apart, you know, because you guys expressed like things you like about psychology and all that stuff. So like in terms of the characters, which identify with those and what's the most fun for you to sort of like pick apart?
Yeah. You can
All
go
right.
first.
We want to make sure we can hear everyone's questions. So who was your favorite to psychoanalyze?
To psychoanalyze?
Yeah.
Sora. Easily.
Sora.
Yeah. He, like, when I first started looking at Sora, I did not, like, resonate or really, not that I didn't like Sora, but I was like, Roxas is so cool, I like all these other characters. But the more I've learned about Sora, like, the more it's just, like, he's such a deep character. So either Sora or Riku.
Mine is Riku, like 100%. I think Riku has such depth and journey in his story. I love, love, love watching his transformation. And I also feel very deeply connected to it, personally.
Yeah.
Any other questions from?
Probably time for like, one or two more.
Yeah, we have like 2 more.
Is there like an antagonistic character you guys could see has a lot of potential?
Sorry?
For psychoanalyzing? Sorry, yeah. Is there like an antagonistic character that could also kind of be in the same vein of like very like compelling or like a very like...
Your question was, are there any antagonists that are compelling?
Is there an antagonistic character that we can find, that we would find opportunity to do psychoanalysis?
Oh, for
And I know
sure.
in like the first iteration when we were putting this panel together, we initially had like a really long list. Like we wanted to do
I wanna do Xehanort,
Ansem and
Vanitas.
Xehanort. Like we actually wanted to do that, but we were like, okay, we only have an hour and a half.
Yeah. For
so-
sure, like Xehanort is like probably one of the most compelling antagonists.
Absolutely.
I also think Vanitas is a really interesting character.
Ooh, yeah.
Looking at just like his own darkness and his own identity being darkness is like just a fascinating statement that he makes. And so both of those are really compelling.
I mean, I think it'd be interesting to learn more about Pete. But in all seriousness, no, I am excited to learn more about the Master of Masters. And I think that's going to be really interesting in this next arc.
For sure, yeah.
And then probably last question over here.
One more question.
Yeah, one more over here. Oh.
So I was wondering, had y'all thought about portraying the characters on like the Meyer-Briggs scale? I'm not sure how much that is used anymore. I know it used to be a big thing like 10, 15 years ago, but I don't hear it about as much today. some Meyer breaks like that.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit tricky to do the MBTI and like the personality scales. I mean, I think it's very possible. I think we had talked a little bit about some of that, but it's also takes a lot of time to kind of look at every facet. But I think you easily could take the letters of the MBTI.
With survey type questions like that, right, you have to answer very specific questions.
Yeah.
And so it gets to this point of like, we're answering what we believe, right? Instead of just like identifying characteristics, we're starting to answer questions of like, oh, this is how he would answer this, right? Which is a fun thought exercise, but then when you put it into something that's so stringent or structured, it can make it a little bit harder to definitively like say something. Or,
Yeah. And so, like, I know we're kind of out of time, but if people do see us and have questions that they want to ask later or right after this, please feel free to come up to either of us and ask what's on your mind, and we will do our best to answer what we can.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great.
My least favorite boss fight is Sora's Heartless in Recoded. That traumatized me for months. I just don't like it. I think there's like 10 different phases of that fight. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Sora's Heartless. Bottom one for me.
I really disliked in Kingdom Hearts 2 when you are in Agrabah world and Jafar gets like really big in the genie form. I really did not enjoy the fight at all.
I hate Genie Jafar in KX2 with my entire being. The gimmick is awful. Everything is awful. Jafar is awful. I hate it.
For me, it's either Maleficent Dragon or that stupid UFO boss in Toy Box. It's not that hard, but it's just not a great boss. Like Kingdom Hearts has some really great boss fights. That one I feel is just like yeah.
No.
That's really tough, but I'm gonna have to say the Unknown from Birth by Sleep. That boss still gives me trouble to this day. I've been trying to beat it for so long, and it's one of the few bosses from the games I still have not beaten. And it's mostly because it's just unfair. Like, I don't know how people manage this fight against Terra. Like, Aqua and Ben I get, but guys, how do you do it? I can't dodge any of his attacks. It's ridiculous. I
guess if I had to pick one that I do not enjoy, is just fighting Vanitas generally ever. And I say this as somebody who I love Vanitas. It's not Vanitas, okay? Honey, it's not a you problem, it's me.
In Dream Drop Distance, where the Spellikin summons all the nightmare bosses into the 3rd district, and it's just like you're just fighting all these giant enemies in this tiny, tiny little box, and it sucks. I hate it. And I hate Spellikin. I never want to see him ever again.
My least favorite boss fight from Kingdom Hearts has to be Data Demix. The 99 clones in 30 seconds was wild, and there was always one that just got away somehow, and I had to retry that fight so many times. So, absolutely Data Demix.
When I was a child, playing the original, not Final Mix version of Kingdom Hearts 2, I struggled so hard on the Hollow Bastion fight of Demix. It brought me so much anger and pain, to the point that I actually got grounded because I threw my controller at a wall. Whoops. Sorry, Mom and Dad.
No, this is an easy one. Grim Reaper 2, Port Royal, Kingdom Hearts 2. We hate Grim Reaper 2 in this house, okay?